Okay, today we're going to be coloring in a photo that I found on DeviantArt. So go ahead and copy that and open up Photoshop. And Control N, which opens a new document, or you can do File New. And when you copy something, it should automatically set the width and height to it in Photoshop, so that the width and height should be fine, and then resolution, just leave it on default, whatever it is, usually 72, and color mode RGB, 8-bit or 16-bit, either one, and background contents, we want that to be white, so make sure that's white, then click on OK. And then I usually work in like full screen mode, so I press F, and then puts it in like full screen mode. So Control V. So first off, what we want to do is we want to set this up for coloring. So we have your background layer, and then when you paste something, unless the layer is completely empty, it'll create a new layer for it. So as you see, it created a new layer. We're gonna go to right click it, layer properties, and just name that why not? Because that's what we're going to be coloring in. So we make sure that's on the top layer and go into the blending mode. Usually it says normal as default, and then change the blending mode to multiply. You won't really see a difference right off the bat. So, alright, so the background, I'm going to whip up a background real quick for it.
Only takes a little bit of gleam or a glimmer, only just a little bit of shake or a shiver. Nothing ever matters till it's shattered, smothered and covered, splattered all over Manhattan and shadoobie. Sometimes it's really just like the movies.
As you can see, the lines just kind of show through like that, and you can see right through the wings or body, the clothes, etc. Alright, so what we want to do is we want to select the background image and press Control Shift N, and that'll create a new layer. Click OK, or you can just click on the new layer button in the bottom right corner on the layers tab. So rename this clothes. Click OK, and it creates a new layer. So I'm going to be using the pen tool for selecting the area that I want to color in. You can color it in manually with the brush tool, or whatever else works good for you. Use the pen tool because it's a lot easier for me.
Little bit enough to make a difference, and nothing's been the same since the chain of events. It's the place where dreams come true. Dreams can still be nightmares too. And a shot, whoa, whoa. Too much is close enough for rock and roll.
So now that we got that all selected, right click, make selection, 0 feather, okay, and we're gonna do, or I'm gonna use kind of like a forest green for the clothes. So alright, and then what I did, I have my selection here, and I press Alt backspace, and that uses the foreground color to color in your selection. So as you can see, we have the clothes colored in now. I'm going to go over with the brush real quick just to touch up a few parts I might have missed. I'm going to show you how to put highlight and shadows in it. So Control Shift N again. This time you have to press Control Shift N, unless you want to like add an extra step, which I'll show you in a second. So press Control Shift N and name the new layer, whatever, highlight, I'm going to name it. And you can press Tab and then space, or just click on Use Previous Layer to create clipping mask and make sure that's checked. Then click on OK, and as you can see, it created a new layer, but it's like tabbed over, and it has an arrow pointing to the other thing. What that means is that when you're using a brush, let's just use white for now to show you. You can color, on top of it, but as soon as you draw outside, it stops. So it's like a clipping mask. So it's obviously not what we want. So I'm going to delete that. Okay. So we need some highlights. So kind of start wherever with the highlights. And then for highlights, I usually put the feather radius 1 when I'm making my selection with the pen tool, and then Alt backspace again to fill it in with white. And as you can see, it doesn't really look right there, so we're going to change the blending mode to soft light or overlay, whichever looks better. It's on overlay right now.
Days old, I never said it better. Sometimes it really glitters and sometimes it's even gold. Baby, when it isn't, then it must be rock and roll. And a shot, shadoobie. Sometimes it's really just like the movies. Shot, shadoobie. Sometimes you just stay home and watch movies.
So now that we have our highlights here, it's starting to look a little more interesting. So now we're going to add the shadows on here. So well, there's probably more I could do here, but seeing as I'm just kind of showing you some things. Alright, so shadows. Control Shift N again. Actually, I'm going to show you the other way now. Create a new layer, like you normally would, and then press, Control Alt G, and that'll take that layer and it'll clip it onto the previous layer. So that doesn't mean it's going to be clipped onto the highlights, it means it's actually going to be clipped onto the clothes itself. So we reset our colors by pressing D, and that'll give us a black. And then you can use a brush tool, a pen tool, or whatever. And as you can see, I can kind of make a selection that isn't on our clothes, and yet when I fill it in, it just shows what was on there. So once again, overlay or soft light. I'm going to use soft light. Soft light usually works better for blacks. And I'm going to change the opacity on that because it's kind of dark right now.
One drink, two drink, three drinks, four. She had eyes that